This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Thursday night's Late Night Agenda, where as always we hope to keep you up to date with the very latest surrounding our beloved football club. Tonight we're going to be talking about some moves that are happening in the Premier League that could have knock-on effect for the Reds. We're going to be discussing Rodrigo and is there a possibility for Liverpool to go after him? Has Luis Diaz really put in a transfer request, or is Florian Plettenberg getting it wrong yet again? That and a bit on Darwin Núñez and of course our defensive search as well. So lots to come up over the next while, ladies and gents. We always want to know your thoughts, so feel free to let us know in the comment section. Thank you to our sponsor Surfshark as well for helping us get through this summer period, and of course to you guys, you know what to do. If you need some VPN, no better place than Surfshark. Right, let's get stuck into it. How are we all? Could have been Express VPN. It could have, if they paid the money. It could have been, but it wasn't. It was Surfshark because they put the money on the table. So I hope we're all well. Weather's lovely today. Again, as mentioned to you guys yesterday, starting to get back into the rhythm of it now a bit more and coming back around to some type of normality. But, you know, still excited about the new season, but also still a little bit, anxious about the transfer window because we do have some work left to do. So tonight, what do we kick off with then? Let's take a little look at... Let's take a look at the Florian Plettenberg report, because I think that's probably the best place to start off tonight and speak about the situation with Luis Diaz. So Florian Plettenberg said that Diaz submits transfer request, but has he? Has he officially submitted a transfer request? Because if he has, well then he'll lose out on, 10% of the transfer fee or whatever his cut of it was. That's usually the way this works when you put through a transfer request. Or has Luis Diaz maybe said to Liverpool that he wants Liverpool to listen to the offers maybe from the likes of Bayern or Barcelona? Either way, it does seem as if, at least according to Sky Germany and Plettenberg, that Diaz wants out of Liverpool. He said Diaz has made it clear again that he's open to leaving Liverpool should a really exciting offer come in. Look, let's call this for what it is. It looks like he wants to leave. Let's not pussyfoot around the situation. And to be nice and blunt to kick us off here tonight, ladies and gents, I don't want any damn player that doesn't want to be at this football club. And I think we can be a bit bold about that now. I think we can start to say, you know what? Why would you want to leave Liverpool Football Club? You can achieve everything that you want to achieve here. We are rated along with Paris Saint-Germain as the best clubs in Europe. That's not me just making it up. This is a report. Why would you want to leave? And if Bayern Munich want Luis Diaz, well, then they're going to have to start opening the offers to one that Liverpool will take seriously, because nothing has annoyed me more over the transfer window than seeing other clubs blatantly talking about charming our players, but yet ignoring the fact that they have to get to Liverpool Football Club to come up with a number, whether it's Darwin Núñez, whether it's Luis Diaz. And today we're starting to see the Spanish press come out more and more about the situation with Konate, that he only wants Real Madrid, that he will refuse any contract offers coming from Liverpool, and that he wants to leave when his contract expires. So I'm going to be blunt about it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of players maybe thinking the grass is greener. It isn't. Look at that club, Real Madrid, right now. They were trounced by Paris Saint-Germain. Their fans are, and I'm not making this up because you can look at it, starting to go in on Mbappe already and saying that they want him out of the club. Trent, well, we know what he'll be in for as soon as he gets skinned by one of the Barcelona players or gets turned inside out. And yet we still have players that want to go and join them. Then fuck off. That's simply how I'd put it, because I'm done with it as a Liverpool fan. This is a great club with a great future, a great manager that is building for something special. And if you don't want to be a part of that, well then let's stop being a pussy and start being honest about it. Because we already had to deal with one player who snided his way out to Madrid. If Konate does want to go, and again we have to say we haven't heard from him, but that's kind of part of the problem, isn't it? If he wants to go, then come out and say it. If he doesn't, fair enough, then sign the deal with the club. But I'm not getting to another season where we have to look at this shit in the paper over and over again about players wanting to leave for Madrid. If you want to go and play for that club, then front up to the Anfield audience, front up to the Liverpool fans and be honest about it. And say, I want to go. And then let Liverpool take care of it from there. But all of this shit again, we deserve better than this as fans. We do. We deserve better. We deserve loyalty. And you might say, hang on, Craig, you're talking about loyalty, but loyalty is a two-way street. It is. But if you want to make that move to Madrid, then say it. Come out and say that you want to leave. Come out and say that you're not going to sign the new deal and stop wasting everyone's time negotiating. I really am just getting frustrated with it all. And look, like I've said, I don't know what's going on with Konate, but with Diaz, it seems pretty clear that he wants to leave. Now, maybe he doesn't think he's getting paid enough, and I can understand that. But as a fan, it's just so annoying because we've had a great start to the window, obviously. Brilliant signings that we're all over the moon about. We had the tragedy with Diogo, obviously, and as things now starting to get back to normal, we're starting to see the crap come out again. Also, we'll talk about Marc Guehi tonight, as Crystal Palace look like it's going to be £50 million or nothing, at least according to the report today. So they're probably going to have to lose him for nothing, because I can't see anybody paying that £50 million this summer. They'll know that they could probably get him for nothing in a year if they wait. So, and I get the hypocrisy, by the way. I get the hypocrisy of me talking about Marc Guehi on a free, but Liverpool are willing to pay a fee for Marc Guehi. The situation with Konate, if you at least believe some of the nonsense coming out of Spain, is that Madrid are only willing to pay £17 million to try to sign Konate this summer. So that's what we have, ladies and gentlemen. That's the starting point for tonight's conversation. So over to you guys now to, to have your say. Right. Kaz, how are we? Good morning, Craig. Finally made it live. Very darn cold here in the east of Australia. It's. Do you know what, Kaz? This might be one of the few times I get to say this to you, my friend, but it's lovely and warm over here in Ireland, and it's not very often I get to gloat about the weather. So appreciate you being in, and glad to have you on the live with us. Keith said, "Do you think Liverpool will make moves again?" Oh, undoubtedly, dude. Undoubtedly. Look, we're not finished in this transfer market by a long way, but I can't tell you when we're going to start moving forward again, because for obvious reasons, it's a very difficult time for the club right now, and we're just getting back into it. But, we have to look after our own interests. And right now, no matter what happens with Konate, we need to get a defender. We do. We've lost Jarell Kwanzaa. We've never replaced Joe Matip, so we need to get a centre-back. The centre-forward situation's been one that we've always kind of thought will be a little bit fluid. We'll have to see what happens with Darwin, and then we'll have to see the Isak situation. Actually, let's talk about that for one quick second, because Dean Jones... Nope, not that one. Sorry, wrong one. That's my bad. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? What's on? I'm confusing myself, folks. Sorry. Bear with me. Yeah, on the situation for a striker. So Dean Jones Soccer has said, and he works for ESPN, I believe, Liverpool are ready to open talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over a deal for Hugo Ekitike. Frankfurt are confident that a deal of up to 86 million will be reached. But there was another story that suggested that Liverpool are waiting to see what's happening with Isak before making any formal move. So there was a story that said basically Liverpool are going to find out in the next week or so. I think it was from Ben Jacobs that suggested that, here we go. If Liverpool find out in the next couple of days or weeks that the door is completely closed for Isak, they will then turn their attention to Hugo Ekitike. That from Ben Jacobs, who, to be fair to Ben, I don't know him personally, but he's been pretty good this summer with Liverpool transfer stuff. And there certainly seems to be a bit more of what's the word I'm looking for? Movement, motion, snowball effect for the Ekitike stuff. It looks like he's pushing out as the target that Liverpool are most likely to make a move for. If, of course, the Isak situation doesn't come out. It looks like there's momentum, that's the word I'm looking for, behind the idea of Hugo Ekitike, which I know will frustrate some of you because it's split, right? People aren't sure about Hugo Ekitike. I'll say to some of you guys and girls, are you happy with it? And you'll say, yeah. Others will say this could be a repeat of Darwin again, another mistake. I've been honest with you and said I haven't got a clue if he's good enough or not. But let's start it off tonight with that poll. If it is Ekitike, are you going to be happy? Let's go with that. So, would you be happy with Ekitike? So, yay or nay, and we'll see what people think on that one, and we'll come back to it in a little bit. Right, some more comments come in. Let me get to this one. Can't believe it's been a week. Love you, Diogo, said Joe. I know, I was thinking the same, Joe, earlier on, mate, where, you know, in one way, it feels like it's been longer, and in another way, it feels like it was yesterday. I don't know if that makes any sense. But then again, look, half the stuff I say probably doesn't make sense, Joe. Lewis Wildick said, hey, Craig, any news on the ELLIOTT situation? A little bit, but I wouldn't be sure about the source of this information, but let me just get back to that in a second for you, Lewis. Muckrab said, pineapple on a pizza, yay or nay? I've never tried it, but probably no for me, but not because I've gotten against pineapple on a pizza, because I only eat cheese pizzas. Occasionally, I'll have a bit of ham on it, but I've never tried pineapple, so I'm going to say nay, but not because of the usual reason that people would say that it doesn't belong on a pizza. My wife very much would say yes, it does belong on a pizza. Tony, thank you so much, my man. Appreciate you. Krister said, anybody who doesn't want to be here can F right off. Nobody is bigger than the club. Big names have left us before and we're still standing. Exactly, Krister. And I don't get it. I don't get why you'd want to leave this football club. But the two different situations that we have to deal with this summer, because we absolutely have the, what's the word I'm looking for? Leverage in the situation with Diaz because he's 2 years to go, but we're kind of a bit weaker when you look at the situation with Konate because, of course, we've let it get to a year to go. Footy YouTube said, Craig, have you ever been to Anfield? If so, versus who? I've been over 30 times, mate. Yeah, Oldham, couple of derbies, Spurs. I've been to, what other ones have we been to? 4 or 5 different Champions League games, a couple of Europa League games. I was at Jurgen Klopp's first game at home as Liverpool manager. I think it was Ruben Kazan or one of those teams, if my memory's right. But yeah, and we've been to a few of the screenings as well over there for the Champions League quarterfinal, semi-final away legs as well. Ryan said, hey Craig, how's things? Wasn't here much over work. I woke up this morning and I was refunded my money for your show in Cork. Did you cancel it? Yes, mate, we did. Quite simply, nobody was buying tickets. You know, I'm honest with you, bro. When things are good, I tell you. When things are bad, I tell you. Yeah, nobody bought tickets. Literally about 20, I think. So it just was not feasible for anybody. We didn't want to do it last minute to anybody. So we did, mate. We knocked it on the head. We reached out and said we've one more show in Ireland. Where do people want us to go? Loads of people said, come to Cork, come to Cork. We did. And nobody wanted to come. And that's cool. That's okay. But yes, is the answer to your question. The last show we're ever going to be doing now is this one in Liverpool. So if anybody does want to come along, that is the last time you're seeing me on a stage. Because I'm a chicken, basically, and don't want to do any more. Right. Sebastian said, will the game on Sunday be on LFC TV? And in my opinion, Diaz out, Rodrigo in. It's going to be on ITV. This was apparently agreed before the tragic incident with Diogo and his brother. So yeah, it's going to be on ITV. I think their coverage is going to start at 10 to 3, if I'm not mistaken. And our coverage of it's going to start from about 2:15. So if you want to join us for the watch along, we'll be taking you through it as well. But yeah, it's on ITV, mate. Which is unusual because usually, you're right, the pre-season friendlies usually are on LFC TV and LFC TV Go or whatever the new name is. Squeak, how are we, dude? Said, do you think Rodrigo is possible if he wants to leave? And what would be a fair price? I'd say it's possible for £80 million. Thoughts? So, Well, I can give you some answers on the Rodrigo stuff. There's been conflicting reports about Rodrigo today. So, one report said Real Madrid want a package of €100 million, which is about 85 million pound. Arsenal and two other top European clubs want the player. And then there was another report that said Real Madrid are now looking for a club to buy Rodrigo. The decision has been made. Now, that came from Marca. But Dario AS said Rodrigo wants to stay at Real Madrid. Now, that's what I'm talking about, the conflicting reports here. Some saying Real Madrid are basically looking for a club to buy him. Others saying he wants to stay. So I don't really know what's happening with Rodrigo. But what we know is he didn't play or didn't start in any of the last 5 games in the Club World Cup. And Madrid looks like it's in a bit of a weird place right now. You know, player power and egos in that dressing room look like they're causing problems for Alonso. So let's wait and see what happens. But I dare say, mate, we'd all take Rodrigo if there was a chance of him coming in, whether it be as a Diaz replacement, whether it be maybe as just an option across the front three. But I don't know if Liverpool are going to proceed or push for a move. I haven't got a clue. Craig, anybody coming from the academy? So, obviously, there are going to be talents coming through. I'll be honest, as I always am, and say I don't watch much of the academy because I don't really have the time to do it. But we know the likes of Trainioni, who's just signed a new deal. We know that young Rio will be given chances in pre-season. And I'm sure, like Nalo, as an example, will be given more chances. So, yes, there will be players coming through from the academy, but none that I think are going to be coming in to take a backup spot. Let's say I don't believe we'll get a new young left back to come in and try and push Milos or anything. So nothing imminent other than Rio that I can really think of there. Dan's, of course, the other obvious one. Keith said, I hope we get a new striker before the Premier League starts. I'm more concerned personally about a centre-back. Look, we need a striker. There's no denying that, mate. But I think we've always known that. Now, well, we've sold a player. So we have a gap at the centre of that defence that needs filling. Right now we have Joe Gomez, who's coming back from the injury. We've got Konate, who we don't know what his future holds and whether he wants to stay or not. And we've got Virgil. So we need to get cracking on the centre-back. And I would say if I'm trying to pitch who the next signing should be, centre-back would be the one for me. I like Alonso as a manager, but I think Madrid is too much of an ego in the dressing room. Well, apparently he's going to be given a bit of free reign to sort the dressing room out. So here's a report that comes from Dario AS. So again, a Spanish publication. Take it with a pinch of salt. It said Ibrahima Konate is at the top of the shortlist for Real Madrid as they set their eyes on a free transfer in 2026. Here's the kicker. Konate only wants Real Madrid and has no intention of renewing. A summer move is not ruled out, but Madrid won't bid more than 17 to 21 million pound. Now, this is why I started the stream tonight with the attitude that I did. If these lads don't want to be here, then respectfully, off you pop. I'm done as a fan trying to pretend like we have to sit through and think, oh, everyone's great. Everybody wants to be here. There's nothing wrong. Trent's only learning Spanish because it's a beautiful language. Let's be honest. If a player doesn't want to be here, off you pop. And with regards to Real Madrid, well, Liverpool need to start being ruthless here, as do other clubs in Europe, because this is the agenda for Madrid. They want players pretty much for free. They will pay for young players on low wages, or they will try to get experienced players like Konate for free or very little and give them high wages. So we need to make a stance here. And the stance very clearly should be sign a new contract or we're selling you this summer. And if you try to not be sold this summer, well, then you are going to get splinters in your arse for the season because we ain't going to give you minutes. And as bad as that sounds, and as much as people are going to come on and say, but Craig, Konate could be the difference between the Champions League and the Premier League. I mean this lovingly. I don't give a fuck because I am not ready to sit through another season of reading those clowns in Madrid writing about our players and our club week in and week out and distracting and taking away from our enjoyment of the season. You don't want to be here, then piss off. Simple as that. Giannis said we don't blackmail players. Well, what do you want us to do then? Roll over and have our belly tickled by Madrid? Giannis, grow a fucking pair. Be honest, mate. This is business. We don't blackmail players, but they can blackmail us. It's fine, Giannis, in your mind, yeah? They can do what they want. Trent can do it. Konate can do it. Anyone can do it. But we can't do it. We have to be nice. No. Let's stop being fucking children. Let's start talking about this the way it should be. Ruthless is what we should be. You know? The respect is there until you stop showing the respect. And if the case is that a player wants Madrid and wants to leave on a free again, then tough shit. We're going to play hardball. That's the way it has to be, man. It has to be. Has to be. We are bigger than any player as a club. We are. So I'm glad that we're starting to see now that, you know, more people are waking up to the fact that players aren't always the lovely, wonderful, cuddly, Liverpool-loving people that we're all led to believe they are all the time. It's just not that way. And if you haven't learned that lesson from Trent, I don't know what to say to you. Because as a fan last year, I sat through every week, article after article, talking about Trent only wants Madrid, Mohamed Salah's off, Virgil might be off, and it was draining. And we don't need it anymore. So, sign up or fuck off. That's the way I am this summer, lads. And I know it sounds harsh, I get it, but that's the way I feel as a fan, honestly. Because let's look at the pitch from Liverpool here. Want to come and win the Premier League? Want to maybe win the Champions League? Want to play in front of some of the best fans on earth? Want to play for Arne Slot? Want to come into a great training facility? Want to be idolised everywhere you go? That's what Liverpool Football Club is. We shouldn't have to sell ourselves to anyone. Especially players who are here. So it's time for some goddamn honesty. If you want to go, cool, be upfront and honest about it, and the club will try to facilitate it. But don't try go down the Trent route of being snidey and the rest of us. Oh, by the way, Jordan Henderson just kicked up a fuss to leave Ajax. Anybody want to guess who his fucking agent is? Yes, that's right. It's little Alexander Arnold clown who is his agent. So I'm getting fed up of all of this shit. Liverpool need to start being ruthless or we're going to be left in the dark. Move on from it. Rant over. Loving rant over. Julian, how are we, dude? Said, sick of Madrid after our players. Yes, and I'm also sick of the players, mate. I got to put that out there. I'm sick of the players. Because I know we all have to sit here and pretend that we don't know what Konate is going to do. But how often have I had to say to you, it's not difficult to come out and say I want to stay, is it? It's not difficult to come out and say that. I want to stay, but the deal has to be right. Cool. That's all we want to hear as fans. I want to stay, but the deal has to be right. If it's not right, fair enough. But I haven't heard that. Have you? I've heard Luis Diaz speaking out of both sides of his mouth. I want to stay, I'm happy, but also we're talking to other clubs. That's normal. No, it fucking isn't, Lewis. No, it isn't. What's normal is you're contracted to a football club with 2 years left to go and seemingly are looking for a move away. So again, can we start living in reality as a fan base and not just thinking everybody's amazing, everybody's lovely? No, they're not. People are selfish, inherently selfish, and we need to be honest about this. I'm definitely back, by the way. I'm definitely back. I'm definitely getting back to myself. Right. Am I a Shells fan and not Rovers? Why am I a Shells fan? Sorry. It just come like, unlike Liverpool, mate, Shells was actually something that was pushed towards me from the family. So a lot of my uncles are Shelburne fans. So I was brought to a lot of Shelburne games when I was younger. So that's the Shells connection. But all my mates from South Dublin are all Shamrock Rovers fans. So yeah, it was always a bit of a tricky one. But that and Another club, my dad used to be friends with Paul Assam, who used to play for St. Patrick's Athletic, so we used to go out and watch Pats a bit as well. But by that time, I was already indoctrinated into Shelburne. Nick, wish Joe stayed healthy. What could have been? Oh, look, mate, if Joe can stay healthy this season, that'll be a huge plus for Arna. You know, he can cover us across anywhere on the back line. And still only 28. Like, that's the crazy thing about Joe. He's still, you know, got years left in him. So, yeah, like you, mate, I very much hope he can stay fit. USA Copite said, we cannot take another Trent season. I know, and we shouldn't have to. And I'm sure, look, I've had my little rant and all that, and I've told my toys out of the pram here, but I'm sure the club are fed up with this as well. You know, these are competitive people. You don't get to where you are in business if you're FSG, or you don't get to where you are as a club sporting director with Hughes or Edwards without having the awareness of what's going on. And I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that Liverpool are going to be frustrated by this, and that Liverpool will be, and not just Liverpool, I'm sure other European clubs right now are fed up with Madrid as well. You know, the Madrid who constantly shy talk about respect. That Madrid. Verts said Spurs are cooking. They signed 2 decent players. You know, am I wrong? Kudus is decent, and Gibbs White is decent. But you know what they're not? Your namesakes are. They're not Florian Wirtz. So let's not forget about that. We've had a ruthlessly good start to the summer. Wirtz, Frimpong, Milos Kerkez. You know, we made our statement. Now we need to back it up. Here. Would you stop? Come here to me. Look. Bayern, listen to me. Get Max Erbel on the blower. I'll deal with him. Breaking, Bayern Munich have made a €52 million offer for Luis Diaz. Are you thick, Bayern? Honestly, are you dumb? Because the asking price is €85 million, not 52 million. Respectfully, take your 52 million and fuck off, because that's not even going to get the phone answered. Like, these people are absolute fools. You know, one, he wasn't for sale. So what did they do? €52 million offer. Yeah, really? 52 million. Well, the price is 85. And remember that, because that's the number. Because that's the number Al Nassr will pay. And that's the number Liverpool know is available. And also, we don't need to sell him. He has 2 years to go. He wants a move. So stop destabilising players with your cheap-ass bids and come in and put in an offer that Liverpool may actually listen to. Because €52 million ain't getting it done. Keep ranting, thank you. You know what? I feel back, like I said. I feel back. I'm backing and to quote Peter Kay, I've had a Baileys and I don't give a fuck. I haven't had a Baileys though, but you get my point. Right. Craig, I really think we should hunt Murillo. Look, Tyler, I wouldn't say no, bro. I wouldn't say no. We need a centre-back. There's no denying that. But let's talk about the stance from Crystal Palace there about Marc Guehi. So this piece here from the Chronicle said Marc Guehi will be willing to run his current deal down to expiry if a suitable offer isn't arranged this summer. Palace are after a deal worth around £50 million. Steve Parish is understood to have made it clear that there won't be any knockdown rate for Guehi. Honestly, I don't believe it. And here's why I don't believe it. 50 million quid is 50 million quid. Crystal Palace are about to get booted down to the Conference League by the looks of it. And by the way, I don't agree with that. I feel really bad for Palace fans. They won the FA Cup, deservedly won the FA Cup. And other clubs with similar problems have been allowed to compete in the Europa League or the Champions League. So I do have every sympathy for Crystal Palace fans because their achievement was brilliant. Fair play to them. But there is no way that I'm sitting here believing for 1 second that they think keeping Marc Guehi for a year is worth losing £50 million. Not a fucking hope am I buying that. 50 million quid or nothing, really? So you're going to let him go for nothing in a year? Like, this is Crystal Palace we're talking about, folks. Not Chelsea, Liverpool, United, Palace. Fuck, that's a lot of money to just write off. So I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe they want as much as they can get, of course, which is their prerogative as the selling club. But you're not going to get £50 million unless Newcastle decide that they want to pay it. But the price from Marc Guehi will, from anybody, will be 35, 40 million, I would say, at best. So I don't believe that. If we sold Elliott and Morton, will homegrown be a problem? So at the minute, we have no overseas places available, to the best of my understanding. But with players moving on, some of that will start to clear up. If Darwin gets moved on, that'll be one place. As disgusting and as cold as this sounds, it's a fact, so I have to mention it. But obviously, Diogo, that's another space, an overseas space in the squad. We'd all rather that there wasn't that other overseas space in the squad, obviously, but we have to approach the situation factually. So there are options there. And speaking of those homegrown options, do you want to talk about Anthony Gordon? No, sorry. Do you want to talk about the £100 million valuation of Anthony Gordon? Yeah, that's right. Footy Insider said, Liverpool are plotting a late summer move for Anthony Gordon. Newcastle privately value the winger at around £100 million. Really? Okay. £100 million. Sure thing, lads. Great valuation. Can I get some of you guys to come around and value some of my shit as well while we're at it? If we're all just throwing makey-uppy numbers around. £100 million. Are you mad? Look, we like Gordon, but he's a 60 million quid player. Let's be honest about this. They can privately value him at all they want, but okay, well then I've changed my mind on Luis Diaz, lads. The 85 million I've spoken about. I've got Newcastle's valuation in here, and we're now going to ask for €150 million for Luis Diaz because, we can all make up silly numbers. That's nuts. The player who was pushed out of the squad by Harvey Barnes for the best part of the end of the season is suddenly gone up in value. Woo! 100 million. Woo! Oh my God. 100 million. Sure thing, boys. Sure things. Will you take a check? Right, sorry. Some more comments to get back through. This one, Maxwell, said, from Texas, gut feeling on how many more signings. Welcome in, my man, and welcome in, Maxwell. Appreciate your support. I think we need two more, probably three actually, Maxwell. I'm going to be greedy. We need a centre-back, a centre-forward, and a winger. That's the way I see it at the minute. Now, depending on other movement, we may need another one. But I think three for me at the minute, dude. And welcome in as well. Appreciate you. Right. So, yeah, Anthony Gordon's nearly worth the same as Florian Wirtz. Let that one sit for a minute there, folks. Let that sit. Anthony Gordon is worth almost as much as Florian Wirtz. Cool. Right, what's going on with Chiesa? Is he staying or going? And if he stays, does he get more game time than last season? I can only imagine a sale unless something has changed. And look, Stevie boy, we'd all love him to stay. I think, we'd all want him to get more minutes. But what we don't want is another season of Arne looking at the bench and going, no, carry on, lads. So if there's a way to move him on, I think do it. But if Arne wants to give him a chance, I don't think you'll find a Liverpool fan who's unhappy about Fede getting more chances at Liverpool. It's something we've all wanted, but I've not seen or heard anything, mate, on him over the last 2 weeks, probably. The last time I seen anything about him was Gasperini just become the new Roma boss, and there was talk that maybe the project there would be one that would be suited to him, but not seen that on it since. Nick said, PSG are the only team I can understand our players wanting to go to. Look at what they've built and aren't slowing down. Cannot understand anyone else. Look, what PSG are doing is impressive. Definitely is. I underestimated what they were doing last year until I obviously seen us play them and then go a bit and then just think, yeah, they're pretty damn good. And then the way you've seen them just dismantle the likes of Madrid, they're impressive. But they're also a very young team with, probably at the point now where they feel like they only need that one or two every year just to freshen it up. And we're not too far away from getting to that. So, yeah, I don't get it. Like, I can get players wanting to move for the climate and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'll never understand the real appeal of Real Madrid. It's just such a soulless club to me. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I've never got the appeal. Krister said, what pisses me off is this narrative from other pundits and journos that our players have to leave to be considered greats of the game, but no other clubs like United. Your thoughts? I agree. We are probably, by anyone's measurement, top 3 in the world right now in clubs. Let's say top 3 in Europe, which is top 3 in the world. Why would you want to go? Especially with what we've just done and what we're building. I don't get it. And yeah, sometimes I think we aren't given enough, what's the word I want to say here? Not credit. Respect. Respect is probably the word, Krister. Fernando, how are we, dude? My dream starting lineup would be Alisson, Frimpong, Guehi, Virgil, Kirkes, Gravenberch, Maka, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, Rodrigo. I mean, it ain't shabby, Fernando, my man. It ain't shabby. You can sign me up for that one, bro. We did a poll on the channel yesterday, mate. I'm not sure if you were with us or you missed the stream, but we asked, what people think about the possibility of signing him, and overwhelmingly people were open and wanting to bring him in. Right, bear with me 1 second. Happy to do the first show and then put that couple of weeks, just put it out as a test, or me and Chris can fill in while you're away and I can get in a guest. Sorry, I just had to message the lads back about the podcast, which we're hoping to start on Monday, by the way. And here's how the podcast is going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to record the podcast every Monday, and members are going to get the podcast Monday night. And then on Tuesday, the podcast will go out on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, as a video podcast. But initially, the members will be the first ones to get the access to the pod, and that will go out for members Monday evenings. Right, let's keep going. DJ Pistol said, Craig, do you think that just keeping Nunes and giving him regular game times to boost his confidence will bring the best out of him? No. Bringing him to the airport and showing him the exit is the only way to get the best for us in this scenario, mate. He's had 2 different managers, 2.5 seasons, and he still hasn't learned the offside trap. So I'm not ready to sit through another season of Darwin moping around the place, and no, just no. Got to sell him. Got to sell him. Got to cut our losses. Gavin said the issue is the Bosman rule, so Real Madrid will exploit it. I think what you're going to see now, Gavin, is clubs starting to change their stance on these things, right? So we've already started to see the introduction of longer contracts by a lot of clubs. There's the other extreme. You've got like the Chelsea going to full Sea Org, 1,000-year contracts, come and join Scientology levels of contracts. And then you've got other clubs going 5, 6, 7. And I think that's what's going to happen. Or clubs are going to have to start moving even in quicker, 2.5 years out from a deal. And if you get to the 2 years and you're not getting any joy, then sell at that point, because something has to give here, because the power is shifting away from clubs. And with the amount of money these guys invest into players as well, yeah, something's going to have to change. Sell Diaz and bring in Barcola. He's quality. Is he? I don't know, man. I can see the appeal of Barcola, but I still think he's too wasteful. And I just don't think there'd be a value in that deal. I'd rather Rodrigo every day of the week than Barcola, personally. The love I have for Craig when he blows his top off, you big bear. Love from South Africa. Thank you, mate. I love a good rant, dude. I love a good rant. But I do have a unique ability to go from ranting to happiness like this, which sometimes surprises even myself. But football does that to me. I love the team. I love the sport. I love our community. But it also pushes my buttons sometimes. And like I said many times, I'm somebody who can't fake what mood I'm in. Bishy said, Gibbs White, 60 million to Spurs. Thoughts? I believe, and I'm open to being corrected on this, that was the release clause. So Spurs paid what they knew would get him out of the club. Look, Morgan Gibbs White's had a good time at Forest. Was linked with Manchester City previously, so there's clearly some top clubs looking at him. 60 million. That's not the worst deal in the world. You always have to look at the homegrown aspect of it and think there's going to be a premium. You're buying Premier League to Premier League. You're probably going to have to pay more than you'd like. And the 60 million was the release clause. And I do spare a thought, though, for poor Ange Postecoglou, what he must be thinking. Like, where was his Mo Kudus? Where was his Morgan Gibbs White? But, it shows Spurs are starting to take this seriously as well. Yeah, this one. Wirtz, Kirkes, Frimpong just came in and we just won the league. Ibu and Diaz should be dying to extend their contracts and would be fools not to. Well, I don't think Diaz is going to get an offer. So I think with the Diaz situation, it's Liverpool either let him leave in 2 years' time or somebody pays up what Liverpool are going to ask for. The Konate situation, it just feels like we're getting rinsed by a player yet again. Again, I know people will say, but Craig, Konate hasn't said anything, but that's kind of part of the problem as well. Like it was with Trent. Everybody was like, Trent's being respectful. Trent loves Liverpool Football Club. Trent wouldn't dare pull a fast one on us. Why is he learning Spanish? Loves the language. Always been a fan of it. Loves him a bit of tapas. But is he going to Madrid? No. Trent's being respectful, Craig. Trent's not talking about it publicly out of love for Liverpool Football Club. Not because he's a Weasley little clown. No, he loves the club. He loves it. He wouldn't dare do anything to hurt us. Trent's in Madrid, isn't he? Cool. So I don't want that again. And I don't want to have to pretend-y, I don't want to have to fucking sit here and pretend that, these guys all love the club. They only go to bed every night in their Arneschlot pyjamas and they could never dare think of doing anything. I'm not going through that crap again. I had enough of that last year when I told everybody what Trent was doing and I had to listen to all the, but he's being respectful. He's not talking about it publicly. Yeah, because he was being a pussy. Like I said, it's nothing to sit there and say nothing because you're a coward and you don't want to front up and sit in front of the camera and say, I fancy something new. Again, let's be honest about this. He was being a coward and he was looking after himself. Which is right, by the way, but it's also my right to sit here and say I think he was an absolute coward. Unknown Trolls. Or Trollis, is it? Trollis? Yeah, sorry, mate. Thank you. Ryan said, Craig, when do you think we start hearing incoming? Seems like it's all slowly coming back, but we need to get centre-back and a striker. Well, we know the lads are back in this week, and then we know we've got the game against Preston. If you're Arne Slot, you're hopefully going to have the bulk of your team for the pre-season trip and tour over to Malaysia and Hong Kong. Or sorry, Japan and Hong Kong, my apologies. So yeah, you're going to want as many of the new signings on the plane with you as possible for a couple of reasons. One, obviously you want to work with them on the training ground, but also you want the new guys to come in and be acclimatised, get to know their teammates, and just what it feels like to be a Liverpool player. And also as well, one of my favourite things about these pre-season tours are when you get the new players who suddenly then realise what a big club they've actually joined. Like when they see the amount of people showing up at the airports, and when they see, you've joined a super club. You've joined one of the biggest in the world. I love that. When a new player goes, I knew I was coming to a big club, but ... Wow. And I think we're going to get some of those moments this summer as well. Bradley Jones, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Evening, Craig. Got to shut GTSU. Wasn't got to shut up. God, I don't know what I mean. I'm glad this is coming back to the norm because the last week. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you. Look, it's obviously been a very difficult week, understandably, for everybody. But I noticed myself yesterday was the first day I started to feel a bit normal. I'm one proud daddy today. I had my first big daddy moment today. Myself and my wife, we bought our daughter her first car today. And I'm extremely proud to do that as a father. It felt like my first really big daddy moment. So just wanted to share that one because obviously your support is, and the growth of our community and our channel and the way that we're moving forward has started to make these wonderful little moments possible. So yeah. What car was it? It was an Audi R8. No, it was a Renault Clio, mate. It was a Renault Clio. But it was just lovely, It was lovely. She's got her insurance sorted out, and yeah, she's very proud. Yeah, obviously. Glad to see you was GSTU. Thank you, Wesley. Yeah, just really lovely little moment today. But yeah, it's a little 1 litre Renault Clio. V. Aaron said, I'm not seeing the appeal in Rodrigo. We seem to blast crosses in the box all game. Why go for somebody small unless you're expecting a change? I think we're definitely expecting a change in the way that we play. I agree totally with you, mate, about the crosses into the box. I just think we're going to see us play through the lines a bit more this season, with the arrival of Ayrton as well. And also, I get people who are like me and would be excited of the idea of Rodrigo, and I get people who would be unsure of it, but I keep just coming back to that versatile player that can play across the front three from one of the media reports about a month ago. And, him or an Anthony Gordon or, insert a player you like there. Any of these guys make sense. But I guess the real question we're going to have is how many attackers do we need to bring in? Like, as Stevie Boy mentioned earlier, if Chiesa goes, well, that's one. If Diaz goes, that's another one. Obviously, the Ogo situation means we're a little bit short there. If Darwin gets sold, another one. So yeah, you then start to think, we've a lot of work there to do. But the club won't leave ourselves short. There will be some players maybe they expected to go into this window and see one or two move, but others maybe they're a little bit surprised about. Like, I don't know how Liverpool thought the Diaz situation was going to be this summer or not. Sam, how are we, Sam? Said, play the bar stewards at their own game, put in players' contract, big release when player got 2 years left, just to just rail, otherwise sign an extended contract or F off. There's definitely going to be some changes, but also, being real, I'm not arsed if we lose Konate. And I will go as far as to say I don't think Konate is going to go into Real Madrid if he goes and become a Virgil van Dijk. I think he is a good player, but has undoubtedly become a better player and is a better player playing alongside the greatest centre-back in world football. So, if he goes, he goes. He's not irreplaceable. I just don't want us going through another year of this crap week in, week out talking about it. Any word on the new player squad numbers ahead of Preston? Delighted to see you back at your shithousing best, my friend. I get the feeling, Carl, that we'll only get the official word when the Adidas announcement comes on the 1st of August. So yes, the players will have to have jerseys on for the game against Preston. I don't know if they'll put in placeholder numbers for the likes of Wirtz or Frimpong or Milos, but I fully expect that we're going to get the real announcement and the guaranteed squad numbers when the Adidas deal kicks in at the start of August, and that will help push the shirts, I'm sure, as well. Do you think we can get Rodrigo? From which perspective? Like, is he for sale? Probably. Would he come to us? Well, I think we could make as good a pitch to him as anybody. You're talking about us, Arsenal. It's probably only a handful of clubs with the ability or need to go in. So I think there'd be a chance. But what I can say to you, John, is I don't know where Liverpool's head are at with it. I have no idea if he's a serious contender for us or not. Right, so we asked, would you be happy with Ekitike? And 68% said yes, they would be. And thank you so much to everybody that voted in that one as well. Interesting. It does look as if that's the direction we're headed in here if Isak isn't possible, based off some of the reports today. What's this one that's just come in? Liverpool have set a price tag of 68 million for Luis Diaz, which is about the 85 million euro I was talking about. Or maybe it's a bit less, maybe it's about 80 million euro. But Bayern Munich are only said to be willing to go up to 51 million plus potential bonuses. Cool. Then Bayern Munich can do one. Simple as that. Look, Bayern are in desperate need. Let's be honest about this. Desperate need, because they've been embarrassed in this transfer window so far. They've been embarrassed with the situation with Wolfmade and the selling club not being happy with them that they weren't consulted. They're being embarrassed by Wirtz deciding not to join them and coming to Liverpool. They've lost out on Nico Williams, who signed a new deal, and they're in desperate need. So if they want to continue nickel and diming with low ball offers, then they're just going to waste their own time, and Diaz will either end up going to Barca, El Nasser, or staying. So they should just cut out the nonsense and get to the number, because I promise you, we're not going to sell him for near that price that they're offering. We just aren't. Liz said, I love you crazy feckers. Your support helps me going. One more day of hospital tomorrow for tests. Congrats, Sorka. Thank you, Liz. And I hope Ian's meeting went well as well. And I hope your tests go well tomorrow, Liz. And thank you for dropping in as always, my friend. Much love to you over in sunny Florida. Yeah, I don't need underrated players for replacing Diaz. Give me established players, not rejects. Well, to be fair, every player is somewhat a reject, right? Like Salah, didn't really do the greatest at Chelsea for obvious reasons. So, and look, I learned my lesson on that with Ryan Gravenberch, because I was very wrong there. I thought there must be something here. Like, why is he moved from Ajax and then moving again? And why is he not getting a look in? So I learned my lesson about kind of underestimating the ability for a system or a manager or a different way of playing to suit a player a little bit more. And that could well be the case with the likes of a Rodrigo. So, I'm certainly going to be a bit more measured in those type of things, because I was very wrong about Gravenberch. I had concerns when we signed him, and those concerns were very quickly shown to be silly. Dylan, message was retracted on that one, bro. I'm not sure what happened with you. Kev1, how are we, sir? Said, hey Craig, hope you're well, love what you do. A lot of people on YouTube talk crap, but you always say how it is, keep it going. Well, I think a lot of people would say I talk crap as well, mate, but what I can always guarantee you is an honest opinion. I don't say anything for effect. I say these things because it's how I feel. And right now, as a Liverpool fan, I can't comprehend anyone not wanting to be here. Like a player maybe like Chiesa who doesn't think he'll get minutes. Totally understand that. A player like ELLIOTT who maybe thinks I need to go get minutes. No problem. But somebody like Lucho or Ibu who is going to be playing, has played, has seen the direction we're heading in and not wanting to be here. I don't get that. I don't get it one bit. And it baffles me. Truly, truly baffles me because, let's look at Madrid as the situation, right? And look at it objectively. You go there right now. It's unknown. Alonso doesn't even know his system yet and how he's going to play. The dressing room looks like there's got too many egos in it. They were very, very much found to be nowhere near the level of Paris Saint-Germain, who ripped them to shreds with incisive, aggressive, ruthless, pacey football. Whereas the superstars of Mbappe and where's my bleeding Ballon d'Or Vinicius Jr. were nowhere. Bellingham, nowhere. Trent, injured. So yeah, why want to go to that club who look like it's a bit of a mess and whose fans are already turning on Kylian Mbappe? And I find this funny because I often spoke about when they signed Eden Hazard, seeing the sign saying, we want Mbappe, because Hazard wasn't good enough at the time. They wanted Mbappe. They get Mbappe, and now they want to run him out of the club. And the fans are moaning, and the fans are saying he's been the downfall of the club. This is the most petty set of fans in world football, bar fucking none. And people are crawling over themselves to go and play there. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Do you know why? Why? Because it's a nice city and a shiny stadium? Cool. But you're at a damn good club right now in Liverpool. Mark said, players one day lauding it up with the fans, the Diaz song, the Ibu song, the Trent song, and then boom, stab them in the back. Yep. Die for this club was one of the players' comments. I think Konate said something along those lines at one point. Well, what's happened then? Do you know what I mean? It's not like these are players looking at a club going, oh, I'm not sure about this manager. Not sure about the direction the club are going in. So, yeah. It's all just bollocks. And, people need to understand that PR is exactly that. We all know the right things to say. Everybody knows what to say to not sound like a racist. Everybody knows what to say to not sound like a bigot. But it's honesty that I value in people. And, players who've run off to Saudi and said, yeah, I'm going for the money, sound. I, as a football fan, appreciate that. And if Trent had said, I just want a new chapter, I want to try something new, as a fan, I would have gone, I don't get it, but all right, mate, cheers for the honesty. But this snidiness just annoys me. Accept the 51 million and ask for Kane in the deal. I don't want Harry Kane near our club personally, mate. I get it. I can totally understand the appeal, and the dude is a goal machine. There's no arguing it, but I just don't like Harry Kane. That's it. I think it's as simple as that. I just don't like him. I think I've never been able to take to him. Maybe it's because I'm not English, and if he was, if I was English and he was in the national team banging them in, maybe I'd feel a bit differently. But I just never been able to take to him. So for me, it's always been great player. Won't deny it, but wouldn't want him at Liverpool. Diva club, diva players, and diva fans, said Liz. Yep. Diva players who don't show up. The whole club doesn't show up to an award ceremony just because Vinicius Jr. didn't win by the Ballon d'Or. Doesn't matter that their team got Team of the Year and the manager got Manager of the Year. Don't show up and talk about fucking respect. Have the cheek to tell the rest of the world about respect. Meanwhile, they're jumping up and down to create a Super League, snidely tapping up players and not showing up to awards because they don't win trophies. And they have the cheek to tell the rest of football about respect. They wouldn't know the word if it bit them in the arseles, would they? We're not just friends, folks. We're a family, said Mark. We are, Mark. Absolutely. One big, beautiful, dysfunctional, aggro party family. That's what we are. 100%. Ryan, how are we, my friend? Said, it always seems the foreign leagues lowball us for our players, yet we usually have to pay way over the market value. Well, look, to be fair, we are the money league in Europe. You know, the Premier League is the money league. That's at the moment where the big TV rights is. That's where the money is. So I'd always expect English clubs maybe to have to pay a bit of a premium. And especially if you're a Liverpool or Manchester United, you know, historically big named clubs. The ones that really wind me up, Brian, are the Italian clubs who just have this mad gift of being able to get players on never-ending loan deals from the likes of Chelsea when they don't work and somehow never seem to have to pay up in the end. I was joking, just mocking the offer. It feels mad to me, Ryan, because they need a player badly, and what Bayern Munich need right now is good PR, because Voltmada caused uproar again because is it Stuttgart, who are his club, said, great, you've agreed to deal with the player, but you never contacted us to ask about it or to ask could you talk to the player. You know, they arrogantly thought Wirtz was just going to rock up and join them. So either get to paying the money or disappear. Simple as that. Are you doing a prediction video for Sunday's match? No, mate. How could I do a prediction video? I wouldn't have a clue where to go. I can't even do a ratings video because we'll probably use 20 players. You know, usually in the first game it's 30, 30, 30. So no, I can't predict it. It's impossible to do one. There was something there. Got to be honest, Craig, I've heard all this talk about Isak Ekitike. I took a liking to Evan Nielsen from Bournemouth after last season. He's good all around. Look, I mean, I haven't got a clue on the striker search. I don't really have an obvious one that jumps up off the page to me to think, get it done. Except Alvarez, who I just don't feel is possible. You know, every other player that I've seen linked, be it Ekitike, Oshiman, Sheshko, Joe Pedro before that when he was being roughly linked. Even Isak, they all have some downside to them, but I just want the club to get whoever the target is. I've been honest about that all summer. Whoever Arna wants is the one I want us to go and get. It'll be good to see the lads on the pitch, said Kevin. It'll be great, mate. It'd be great to see them back out there again. It'd be weird seeing them in the night kit again, though. We are closing in, obviously, on the 1st of August, which is the official changeover date to Adidas. So, Adidas, if you're watching, all the way through the Nike stuff, Adidas. All the way through. Andrew said, can't see many first teamers in the lineup on Sunday. Why? I don't understand why not, mate. They've all had their holiday. So, you know, maybe, yeah, I don't know why not. Like, I'll be honest with you. You know, even before the tragic events of Diogo, it feels like a weird friendly. It just does, like, to go this early when we've been back training 4 or 5 days. It does feel a weird first friendly. And then you go all the way to, what is it, 23rd or something like that after that before another one. So I really don't know what to expect against Preston, other than, I'm happy to see the lads back in any form, whether it's the younger players or whatever. I'm just glad to see the lads back. Where can you watch the match on Sunday? It's on ITV. It's on ITV, which is a free-to-air station in the UK and Ireland. Right, I wanted to ask you guys about. Let me just. Right, let me ask you this. Okay, bear with me. I wanted to ask you about Marc Guehi, because if it isn't Marc Guehi, then who else do we move for? Now, obviously, you could mention Jarell Haddo, but I think the perfect middle ground was Marc Guehi with the uncertainty about Konate, because we will need a leader alongside Virgil, and I don't know if the club feel that they're going to be able to trust Konate week in, week out, in the same way that they felt like they were able to trust Trent week in, week out, and Salah week in, week out, and Virgil week in, week out, inside the last year of their deal. I, as a human being, don't really have that. Virgil and Mo, they always wanted to stay, so I always had the faith in them. But I never believed that a player who knows their future lies away from the club is ever going to give 100%. I mean, even subconsciously, I don't believe they're going to give 100%. And I get everybody will say they're professionals and all, but again, if I'm in their position, I'm not going to want to do an ACL or break a leg in a challenge, or, do anything that could mess up my big move. Because one injury to Konate this season, and watch how ruthlessly Real Madrid decide to look elsewhere. If he got injured in January, and it was a year-long injury or something, watch Madrid very quickly go, thanks but no thanks, we're off to sign somebody else. So for me, we got to plan for a life without Konate if we think he's leaving. Whether it's this summer or whether he leaves after his contract's up. If we think he's leaving, I want to see us go out there and sort out the future now. Bring in a centre-back who's ready for the here and now, and bring in the Jarell Haddo type young centre-back for the future, and let Konate worry about himself. Murillo would be nice. Collins also good, said Tony Houseman. Marc Guehi all day long, but will it happen, said Bill Ben. I'm unsure, mate. I wonder if we hadn't had the tragic crash that took Diogo and Andre, I wonder would we have had this deal wrapped up already, or is it just that we're unsure how to proceed yet, because maybe we get the vibe back from Palace that they're not going to come to a number that Liverpool think is worth doing business at. Because let's be honest, there's always been a little downside to the idea of Marc Guehi because of his lack of aerial prowess, for want of a better phrase. There's so many things he does really, really well. He's a very accomplished defender, a leader as well. Apparently, reading in a little bit more, he's very good in and around the changing room, great character around the club. Lots of good things, lots of the reasons why he was Crystal Palace captain and, an England international. So, but if Liverpool, we know Liverpool are kind of a club that always thought we have a number, and if we can't get what we deem value, well, then we move on. But we sold Jarell Kwanzaa, and I can only assume that we had something lined up after we sold Kwanzaa, because it would be very unlike us to sell a player and leave ourselves with a headache. So something must be in the works. It has to be. He was doing his medical this week, reported but postponed. I've heard done last week, just can't tell us out of respect. Look, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue. But I just know he'd be a good signing and one that I'd very much welcome to the club. Um, but the Newcastle PR around this has kind of got me a little bit concerned over the last day or two because, we know Newcastle are long-term admirers of Marc Guehi. We know that they tested Crystal Palace's resolve in the winter with significant offers. We also know that they still need a centre-back now. And maybe Palace are hoping that they can get Liverpool and Newcastle to kind of butt heads here and try to force the issue a little bit to get the price up for Marc Guehi. But, honestly, I thought that this one would have been wrapped up quickly and Liverpool would have got their man at this point. I did miss your super chat, Casper, and like I've said, and I'm. It's 4 minutes, dude. It's 4 minutes. There's no divine right for a super chat to be read out like that. I have to fit it into the way that we're speaking and a natural break. So, respectfully, just give me a minute. It's been 4 minutes since you posted it, dude. Other YouTubers just go through them completely out of context at the end of a stream and stuff. I always try to get them as quickly as I can. But if I'm in the middle of a monologue or a debate or something, I have to move it in when I can. Maybe the club trusts Rio and don't replace Lucho. Maybe. I'm certainly. How do I say this? I think it would be a difficult sell to the fan base to say we're selling a player for, let's say, £65 million and we ain't bringing in anyone. I don't know. That just feels like a tough sale. Yeah, I don't know. And again, even if the club's plan was young Rio, I still feel like you've got to dress it up in a way that somebody else is brought in at that time, even if it's a centre forward or somebody more versatile, if you get me. I just think from a vibe perspective, it will be a weird one to try and smooth over, even though I don't at all disagree with the sentiment behind it. That one, sorry. All good, my man. All good. Look, I do ask you guys to give me a nudge if I miss a super chat, but give me 10 minutes if I haven't got it by all means, because I do miss some occasionally, definitely do. But yeah, I appreciate your understanding. Thank you. Hope Trey and Stefan break out this season. See, we say this as fans, right? And this is where we're all hypocrites. And we're supposed to be, by the way. We're football fans. We're supposed to be hypocrites. But we all love the idea of young players coming in, right? Until we don't get a signing. And then we feel hard done by. So, Stefan's probably an okay situation because we're not sitting here expecting a DM to be brought in. But if Lucho was sold and we were told, well, Rio is going to be the replacement, I just don't think that we'd get away with that. I just don't think it would be an easy sell to the fan base. I see you're heading Liverpool confident in huge deal. What's the huge deal? It is the deal for Hugo Ekitike, mate. Let me read you through some of the Ekitike stories from today. So, first of all, we had Dean Jones, I think of ESPN, who said Liverpool are ready to open talks with Frankfurt over a deal for Hugo Ekitike. Frankfurt are confident they can get a deal of up to 86 million. Then there was the report from Ben Jacobs that said, if Liverpool find out in the next couple of days or weeks that the door is completely closed on Isak, they will turn their attention to Hugo Ekitike. And there was a couple of other reports today as well to say that Liverpool feel confident if they did proceed towards Ekitike that they could get their man. So that's what I meant with the headline tonight. And also, I guess I just wanted to get people's opinions on the Rodrigo situation and how people are thinking about that one, because Arsenal's name's still being thrown around there for him. But, if they're bringing in Madueke, Gyökeres, Norgard, they need a centre-back themselves. Do they have the money to do it? I don't know. And that would be a signing if Arsenal made that. I've said about some of the signings this summer, I haven't been fearful of some of the business they've done. If they brought in Rodrigo, that would be a signing that would make me kind of go, okay, that's a level up kind of signing. Ryan, how are we, my man? Ryan Sampson, thank you, bro. Said maybe Rio can cover for Gakpo on the left, provided we bring in a striker. Yeah, look, I love the idea of Rio coming through, and I'm really excited to see him this summer. But I'd still like let me put it this way: if we were to say that we sold Diaz and we gave Rio a chance, then I would want Liverpool to bring in a centre forward and another versatile forward. So I'd still want 2 more forwards signed by the club, because obviously we've got the Ogo situation. We've got Darwin, who looks like he's going to be sold if we can find the number. We don't know what's happening with Chiesa, and in the scenario we've all just spoken about, we would lose Diaz as well. Stuttgart want 100 million for Wultmade, but only from Bayern. I believe the asking price for other clubs isn't that high, but I think they've been angered by the way that Bayern Munich have gone about this. And if there's one thing that really seems to have jumped off the page this summer for Bayern, it's arrogance. That's the word I would use. In a lot of these things, because they're used to German clubs rolling over for them. When you've got the Dortmund director of football or whatever he was coming out and saying he would have preferred Florian Wirtz to stay in the Bundesliga even if he went to Bayern. I can't comprehend that. I can't comprehend sitting here, let's say, if we lost Mo and Mo went and joined Arsenal. I couldn't imagine us saying, well, I suppose Mo's not German. Let's go English. Let's go. Okay, Kwanzaa is a good example. Let's say Kwanzaa was this huge talent and we sold him to Arsenal. And we heard Richard Hughes come out and go, yeah, I would have preferred if he had stayed in the Premier League than they're going, abroad, because, it's good for football. No, come on, man. You don't want to be strengthening a rival in any circumstance. And that's part of the problem in Germany, isn't it? It's that everybody just rolls over for Bayern. Schmunga said, I'm still so gassed about signing Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkes. Could not be more proud of this club so far with everything they've done this summer. I think we're all in agreement with you there, Schmungus, but the problem is we can't stand still now. Now, obviously, what's happened is a situation that nobody ever thought was going to happen. But also, we were expecting sales afterwards, and that still has to come. So I don't know if the pause here is because of the tragic events with Diogo and his brother Andre, or if this is the natural part where Liverpool then start to move players on to look at what squad places they maybe have available. So whatever is the next stage of it, I do hope the ball gets moving again soon enough. Dan's keeper loan out. So what I would say, Colin, is give him the pre-season, take him on the pre-season tour, have a look at him, see how he is in the friendly, see how he trains, and then make the call late. Because one, we don't want to agree a deal and then we pick up an injury, let's say last minute to a forward or something. So I would say a late move. Whatever happens, a late decision on Jayden Danns is the sensible one. And hopefully he impresses this summer, shows his fitness, and the manager thinks of him as a genuine option. Right, so we asked everybody, and we're about 400 shy of 2,000 votes. Do you think we signed Marc Guehi? If you haven't voted yet, please do. Neil said, personally, if Konate tries to run his contract down, he shouldn't get a squad number this year. He can play with the kids. So we have to be somewhat careful about that as well. Like, I agree with the hardball aspect, but you can't start stripping away players' squad numbers or um, belittling them. You know, because there is employment laws that need to be looked at here as well. But you can certainly limit the opportunities he's going to get this season and make that very clear that if you have intentions of going to the World Cup with France next summer, and remember this, Konate's never nailed on to start in that French team, even as things currently stand. He's there or thereabouts. So if he plays next to no football this year, is he going to play in the World Cup? Is he going to be called up by Didier Deschamps? I think we do have that little bit of leverage here with that situation. That's certainly the way that I'd be pressing the situation if I was in Richard Hughes' shoes. Craig, with Morgan Gibbs White looking like it'll happen, does this open the door for Elliott to Forest? Well, that was a report that came out from I don't know who Anfield Knowledge are, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm not on X, so I don't really follow who's posting what on there. I just get sent a few bits and pieces. They posted to say Nottingham Forest have approached Liverpool over the signing of Harvey Elliott. The Reds would demand 40 to 45 million for a signature. So it would make sense if they need a player, maybe look at Elliott. But you know, Harvey will have plenty of clubs that are after him this summer. Newcastle, Brighton, Forest maybe, Leverkusen. There was another Bundesliga club, West Ham. So he's going to have plenty of options, and I don't think Liverpool are going to struggle to get the fee for Harvey Elliott. I think the decision will come down to what Harvey, his family, and his representatives feel will be the best next step for him to get game time regularly, because he deserves that. And if we can't give it to him, unfortunately, then the best thing to do is for everyone to just, you know, shake hands and maybe stick that buyback clause in there like we've spoken about before. Wesley said, seems like the 100 million for Voltmade was just an F off to Bayern. I'd take him at Liverpool. Seems like a solid player and young. Thoughts? I'm not going to lie, Wesley. I didn't even know he existed until his first cap for Germany. I had never heard of him before. Didn't know he existed. But from reading up on him and the nickname the 2-meter Messi, you know, he looks like a decent player. But I also remember reading that £42 million was a number that was being mentioned before the Euros anyway. So yeah, mate, I couldn't tell you if he's good enough or not. I wouldn't have a clue. I didn't know he existed 6 weeks ago. Ricky said we should have shined Gyökeres just to piss Arsenal off. Why? He does, like, the signing of Gyökeres by Arsenal. I'm almost relieved, if that makes sense, Ricky, because I think he'll be okay, but it could have been worse, if you get me. Like, there were players out there that if they'd have signed, I'd have been a lot more scared of Arsenal's business. But Madueke, not really shaking in my boots. Norgard, solid, good pro, you know, Premier League tested. Zubamendi is a good signing. You know, he's a good footballer, he is. But also, again, every time I talk about Arsenal at the minute, I can't lie, lads, I just have no respect for them because of the whole Partey situation. None. And I'm not going to get into a big rant on that again because I don't want to bore everybody with it, but they knew 10 months ago. There was a report from, was it The Telegraph? I sent it to Connor, so I'll read it out 1 second. Yeah. Complaints about Thomas Partey were raised with the Football Association, Arsenal and the Premier League 10 months before he was arrested by police. So, and yet you have Arteta on the last game of the season saying, I want him to stay, he's a really important part of our football club. Yeah, I don't know, lads. I feel like somehow Arsenal have gotten off the hook from any real pushback on this scenario because it's despicable, in my opinion, like I said the other day. And their own fan base. So whatever you think about me saying it, their own supporters club have asked the club for comment on this, because Arsenal's line has been, well, he's no longer an Arsenal player, so we can't answer about it. Yeah, because you covered the situation, or because you did nothing about it. And now all of a sudden you think you can just fucking rinse your hands of it. You showed, again, there's a lot I'd like to say about this publicly. There really, really, really is, because, let's look at how fans are treated with one mistake. Season tickets taken off them, gone, banned, no conversation. There's no place for hate. This football club, strict policy, blah, blah, blah. But when it's the club and their wallet and the bottom line comes into it, all of a sudden morals change. And there's grey areas. But if a fan makes a mistake, then, thrown under the bus, bye-bye season ticket, and the club has a strict, no tolerance policy for X or Y. Which one is it? It's easy to ban a fan. It's easy to know what to say, but it's harder to do the right thing. And the actions of that football club left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. So, again, hypocrisy from an organisation that spouts the right things and says it all publicly, but when it comes time to act and their bottom line's at stake, what's this one? Arsenal have probably got off lightly because Mendy being found innocent. Yeah, but at least City did the right thing, right? At least City did the right thing. And you won't hear me speaking up for Man City very often, but they did the right thing. United got rid of Greenwood. They did the right thing. So whatever we say about the situations or innocence or guilt, they did the right thing. And Arsenal had the chance to do the right thing, but they didn't. Where were we? Sorry, there was something else. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Right, so we've had over 2,000 votes now. Do you think we signed Marc Guehi? 78% say yes. I wish I had your optimism. I'm unsure. James said Arsenal have done nothing wrong. Yeah, okay, James. Cool. Fair play to you, mate. And also, while I'm saying it, mate, fuck off. They've done nothing wrong. Yeah, that's why their own fucking fans are asking questions, dickhead. Their own fans, their own supporters union are disappointed in their club. But James from YouTube said they've done nothing wrong. Cool. Nice one, mate. Well played. Yeah. You're absolutely not wrong at all there, fella. Not even a little bit. Mr. Dan said next season 3-horse race with Liverpool, Arsenal and City. Who finishes first, second, third? I'm not arrogant enough to sit here and say we are going to win the league definitively 100%, but I think we're deserving of favourites to go into it. But it depends on a lot of factors. Injuries, a team that can prevent injuries will go a long way in the Premier League and will be close. The impact maybe that losing Mo has for the AFCON, as an example, will have a part to play in it. How quickly the likes of Florian Wirtz settles, will have a part to play in it. And same with the signings that those other clubs have made. But I think you're probably not a million miles off. Chelsea, it's going to be very interesting to see, what Chelsea look like this year. Obviously, they can't really utilise two different squads in Europe and the Prem as they did in the lower tiered Conference League. They've got Champions League now and a bit more expectation and, a Club World Cup final there as well. So it's going to be a competitive season. Definitely it is. And I'm excited. Yeah, as a football fan, I'm excited to go into it. Do you know the thing that I'm worried is the other end of the table? It'd be nice to see one or two of the promoted clubs stay up this year. It's kind of gotten a little bit saddening to see clubs up, back down, up, back down. It's nice when you get one like a Brentford that comes up, stays in, is pretty pragmatic in that first season or whatever, and then, adjust to the league. You see loads of managers coming up and saying, this is the way we play and we're going to carry that into the Premier League, and it just doesn't work out. So it'll be interesting to see if somebody, like, who stays up, if any of them stay up. Can you do a news roundup? There's a video, mate. I'll have a news roundup video coming out at about 11:15 or so. Because we have some other stories that I haven't had a chance to get through tonight that we have held back at one or two as well. But look, let me quickly fly through what I have for you so far. Because I do, again, really appreciate all of your time coming in tonight. And I know that people drop in and out at different stages. So let me try my best to fly through it for you. And while I'm doing that, a couple of little favours to ask of you guys. If you haven't joined the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp channel yet, it's free to do so, of course. Scan that QR code on the screen. I put in polls that I asked. So there's one up there at the minute asking what you think happens with Konate this season. We will have news information, obviously, breaking news stories, little bits and pieces around the new kit launches and stuff like that. So if you want to get notifications, join us on there. And also, our last ever live show on stage is going to be at the Hot Water Comedy Club, Sunday the 19th of October. It's the weekend of the Manchester United game, and we'd love to see you there. Tickets are on sale right now. All ages event, and tickets are priced at just £15. Right, so let's get to the news. So the first story that really caught our attention today came from Florian Plettenberg, and it was around Luis Diaz. And I don't know if this is a language barrier thing, but the wording of it, I'm unsure of. He said, Diaz submits transfer request. New Max Herbal talks. Now, does he mean asks to leave or puts in a transfer request? Because there is ramifications to putting in a transfer request. You lose a percentage of the sale that would have gone to you, and you forgo a few other things like loyalty bonuses and stuff like that. So I'm unsure if something's been lost in translation there. He goes on to say, he's made it clear again that he wants to leave Liverpool. And again, they go on to talk about Bayern being interested, blah, blah, blah. But yet Liverpool haven't got the offer that would see him move. Liverpool are plotting a late summer move for Anthony Gordon, said Footy Insider. Newcastle privately value the player at just a mere £100 million, according to this report. Then there was Dean Jones, who said Liverpool are ready to open talks with Eintracht Frankfurt over a deal for Hugo Ekitike. Then Marca said, Real Madrid are now looking for a club to buy Rodrigo. The decision has been made. Dario AS said, Rodrigo wants to stay at Real Madrid. This is actually interesting, and credit Moby Haig for this. Anybody who's on X probably knows Moby's account. I've actually never chatted with the lad or don't really know much about him, but seems to run a very good account. Said, a member of Arne Slot's technical team, Diego Paiva, who was overseeing individual player development and functionality, has moved back to FC Porto. He joined a year ago and has now returned back to the same club. Then we had the Chronicle, I think they're a Newcastle-based newspaper, who said Marc Guehi will be willing to run down his current deal to expiry if a suitable move isn't arranged this summer. Palace are after a deal worth around £50 million. Steve Parish is understood to have made it clear that there won't be any knockdown rate for Marc Guehi. Then we had a report coming out of Defensa Central, who said Atletico took their chance and made contact with the Frenchman, Konate, according to Defensa Central, but have been rebuffed in their efforts. Although the Spanish capital club are willing to pay €40 million for Konate, he wasn't interested in a move to the Wanderer Metropolitano. Then we had the news around Fabrizio Romano and Mike McGrath talking about the Morgan Gibbs White deal to Forest. Ben Jacobs said if Liverpool find out in the next couple of days or weeks that the door is closed for Isak, they will turn their attention to Hugo Ekitike. Real Madrid want the €100 million package for Rodrigo, said at UOL Esporte. Then there was the report that Forest are interested in trying to sign Harvey Elliott. Dario AS said Ibrahima Konate is at the top of the shortlist for Real Madrid as they set their eyes on a free transfer in 2026. Konate only wants Real Madrid because he has no intention of renewing. A summer move is not ruled out, but also Madrid won't bid more than £17 to £21 million. Then we had Sport Bild saying Bayern Munich have made a €52 million offer for Luis Diaz. And then Liverpool have a price tag of about €80 million or £68 million for Luis Diaz, but Bayern Munich are only said to be willing to go up to 51 million plus bonuses. So that's kind of where we're at the moment with the news and stuff. The big news of the night is the Bayern offer for Diaz, which is again short of Liverpool's valuation. Yeah, thank you for removing that message, Keane, because I don't know. That was a shit stirring message, mate. So well played. What have we got? It's up to Rodrigo if he wants to leave. Just sell Diaz and Nunes. Yeah, look, I'd be very happy as a Liverpool fan to see Rodrigo brought in. And one thing we do know is there has been a long-held interest with Liverpool and Rodrigo Goes, but that was before he moved to Real Madrid. I couldn't sit here with any confidence and tell you that I know that Liverpool are lurking in the background waiting to make a move. I hope they are, but I've been honest and said I don't know what's happening with the forward situation. Don't know what's happening with Chiesa. Darwin, I think, two things. It looks like something has happened that slowed down the Galatasaray move for Victor Osimhen. I read that just before it came live. I don't know if it was something about the structure of the fee or something, but that has kind of been held up a bit, which may have a knock-on effect to the Darwin Núñez situation. And also, am I right in saying that today the Saudi Pro League window opens? I know that they changed it. I think it opened today, so you may see interest in the likes of Al Nassr and a few other clubs start to come around now for a few players as well. We should go for Visa from Brentford as they're falling apart. Tell me this is a good show. I don't know about Visa, mate. I haven't got a clue. If we were very interested in them or not. Spurs were, again, rumoured to be interested because Thomas Frank moving there. But, I would have preferred Mbeumo if you were to raid Brentford for a player over Visa. I'd have taken Brian Mbeumo personally, but I don't know anything to say Liverpool are interested. And obviously, Mbeumo's looking like very likely to go to United. Shush said he's 28, which again I didn't know what age he was, to be fair. So yeah, that would probably put the kibosh on that one. Solomon said, give them Konate this window with a solid 35 million for Rodrigo. So let's say, for instance, Madrid value Rodrigo at £85 million or €100 million. What would probably get the deal done? Realistically, if both people are hard and fast in their valuations, you're probably looking at Konate and £50 million, which would value Konate at about £35 million in this scenario. If Rodrigo is valued at 85 million, so 45-50 would probably be more realistic, but it would be a great way to resolve a potential headache for sure, rather than having to deal with the whole Konate wants Madrid all year again. I think most of us would probably take that one, to be fair, if we could do that. It's probably a very good middle ground if Konate does want to go. Matthew said, good evening, Craig. Sorry, joined late. If you've just gone over this already, has there been any news on Rodrigo considering his exit? Nothing that I know, but then again, there hasn't been a whole lot with incomings around Liverpool in the last few days for obvious reasons. So I don't know, bro. Honestly, I don't. I'd love to think that we are interested, but I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't got a clue. C, how are we, sir? Said, evening, mate. What's your opinion on signing Rodrigo and using him as a number 9 until Isak becomes available? Defo. Look, we have, let's say we bring in Rodrigo. He's an option centrally. You still have Dan's, the opportunity to play with a false 9 as well if we wanted to use Wirtz or Szoboszlai or somebody like that. And somebody made a great shout the other night where they said, look, maybe we go full PSG on this and don't actually have what you'd class as a normal striker, and we play differently, and I can see a world where that's possible. It does look as if we're trending towards Ekitike based on some of the reporting from the likes of Ben Jacobs and others, but I wouldn't say no to it. The idea of him playing with Mo to the right, let's say, and Gakpo to the left or whatever, I wouldn't say no to it. Ryan Sherwood, thank you for that one, but you did put a comment in on the next one, mate. Thank you again. Would you take Kane for Diaz swap if available? No. I don't want Harry Kane at Liverpool. Personally, it's just a personal thing. I don't like Kane as a character, as a fella. From what I've seen of him, obviously. And no. What is he, 32, Kane? Something like that? Nah, just not for me. But, you know, I say that, but respectfully know as well, if I'm being really honest, the dude puts the ball in the net, and there's no denying Kane's goal-scoring prowess. That would be, you know, it would be just silly of me to say that the man doesn't give you a guarantee of goals. He does. Would I have taken Cunha? He was one of those players I could have understood if Liverpool wanted to take a punt on. Because he's a quality footballer. He's got, and I like the edge that he has. And, you know, United have got themselves a very good player there. Maybe not as good a player as some of the hype that has almost tried to make him sound like, was it Omar Barada said he could be the new Cantona? I think that's a stretch, but I think he's a good player. And I wouldn't have minded us taking a punt on him as one of a forward option, but not the forward option, if you get me. Like as the second forward to come in, I wouldn't have said no. I think he's a good player. Is Malik Fofana a good shout? Certainly seems to be a name that's been linked to us this summer. 60 million euro, I think, or 50 odd million pounds seems to be a number there. I don't know if Liverpool have any intention to move from, but he's definitely a credible name and one that could well depart Lyon. Ash Hind said, I think Ekitike would be a really good fit. He's technical, he's creative. With Salah and Wirtz around, our attack could be lethal. Look, I'm open to Ekitike, but I just couldn't sit here and saying yes or no to you about knowing whether he's good enough or not. Oh, thank you, Mark, for this update. So, Ben Jacobs said, understand Liverpool have refused to engage with Bayern over Luis Diaz deal. Liverpool have been unequivocal in their not-for-sale stance and rebuffed all advances to date. No formal bids received and zero engagement or encouragement from Liverpool other than outlining their position. Liverpool have no plans to allow Bayern to present or discuss any bid. It feels like, and I kind of understand if this is the case, but it feels like Liverpool's stance to Diaz might be stay here or join Al Nassr, but they're your options. Because they obviously won't want to go and strengthen a rival. And they know that Al Nassr money is there. It's coming. It's on the table. So it could be that Diaz is told, these are your options from Liverpool. Stay here. And, you know, you have 2 years to go. Or go to Saudi and join Al Nassr. Because that's not going to come back to hurt us as a club. And again, I can understand if that's the stance. Because Liverpool aren't the ones trying to move Diaz out the door. No, Liverpool are happy for him to stay. So if you want out, well, then Liverpool will probably say, well, this is the only option we're going to entertain. If you want to take it, do. If you don't, you're staying. If Gordon is 100, Diaz is 120. Yeah, but Gordon isn't 100, Keith. Or Kevin, sorry, bro. Kevin, he isn't. That's just madness to even talk about him as 100 million. He's a 60 million pound player. Here we go from Adewake. Sound. Again, not a deal that has me sitting here worried as a Liverpool fan. I've no doubt that Lego Man feels that there's a plan in place there, but crack on. Yeah, not one that's going to have me scared as a Liverpool fan anyway. Is the Gyökeres move to Arsenal off? I don't think so, Ash. I think they just haven't got an agreement yet with Sporting, and I think he's due to return to training tomorrow, but is unwilling to do it. From last thing I read, so that's kind of where we're at. Right, ladies and gents, I'm gonna have to go, and I'm gonna record the late night update video with a little bit on that Diaz situation and a few other bits that we haven't covered tonight. It'll be out before 11 anyway. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Appreciate you. So yeah, if you have, do join the WhatsApp channel if you haven't done that one yet. And again, appreciate you guys dropping in tonight. As always, much love to you all. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.